Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Tuesday, May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off with exciting news. We've got a bit of a hometown hero coming back to us. I'm talking about the Today Show's Al Roker. He'll be here in Cleveland on Monday, May 10th. He'll be here as part of a special event, a special thing that the Today Show is doing. It's their Reopening America series. So Al Roker will be here back in Cleveland at WKYC where he previously worked. And he'll be visiting with a special situation happening here, and our anchors will be out in their communities just showcasing what's happening as the world sort of gets to a reopening point when we start looking more toward a post-pandemic world. Also, he'll be joined by special guest Cleveland Cavaliers Kevin Love, spotlighting the city of Cleveland. You know, a lot of people think that Al Roker is actually from Cleveland, but he's not. He just has sort of adopted Cleveland as his second home, and Cleveland has adopted Al Roker as a son of Cleveland. He did work here for 5 years at Channel 3, and he is very excited to be back here with us next week, and we are very excited to have him. Now let's turn to a continuing conversation that another one of our own keeps having. I'm talking about the kid from Akron. I'm talking about LeBron James. He tweeted yesterday, again in response to the controversy over a post that he had made related to the police killing of Ma'Khia Bryant. That's something that happened on the same day that the guilty verdicts came down in the murder trial for Derek Chauvin, the officer who has now been convicted of killing George Floyd. So on Monday, LeBron James tweeted this, that he fueled the wrong conversation about Ma'Khia Bryant, and he owes it to her and this movement to change it. So what he did was he tweeted an article by a writer for Vox. That article is headlined, "Why They're Not Saying Ma'Khia Bryant's Name," and it was written by Fabiola Cineas. So in that tweet, James thanked Fabiola. He said, "Thank you for educating us about Ma'Khia and her story and why this needs to be about her." Now, to give you a reminder of what we saw on body camera footage regarding the killing of Ma'Khia Bryant, we saw a police officer shooting her 4 times while Bryant was swinging a knife at another girl during some sort of a conflict. Now, in the Vox article, Fabiola points to crisis response experts who said that de-escalation tactics, like commanding Bryant to drop the weapon, physically getting between people, and communicating could have potentially kept everyone alive. That's according to crisis response experts. Also pointed out that in many instances, we have seen body camera footage where there are white individuals who come into contact with the police and are brandishing a weapon, and those people are able to be peacefully apprehended. That is not the situation that happened here with Ma'Khia Bryant. Now, this shooting is still being investigated, that as all police shootings are investigated, so we will have to wait for those results. Now, this all started after LeBron James had tweeted when information about this Ma'Khia Bryant shooting first came out. He had tweeted, "Your next #accountability," with a photo of an officer, that photo believed to be Nicholas Reardon. That's the officer who has been identified as the person who did shoot Ma'Khia Bryant. But he deleted that tweet saying that it had been used to spread more hate than good. Another thing that we need to pay attention to today, it is May 4th, and this makes it the 51st anniversary of the Kent State shootings. Those are the shootings that happened when the National Guard opened fire on protesters on the Kent State University campus on May 4th, 1970, killing 4 people and wounding 9 people. The 4 people who lost their lives that day, Allison Krauss, Jeffrey Miller, Sandra Shore, and William Schroeder. This was during a peaceful rally that was protesting greater U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War by U.S. military moving into neutral Cambodia, and also protesting the National Guard presence on the Kent State University campus. So to commemorate this moment in our history, Kent State is holding virtual events today, and this will also debut a video tributing for the first time the students who were wounded in the shooting, those 9 students. And there are 9 new markers that have been installed on the campus where that commemoration site is in order to give greater context to the things that happened that day. Kent State President Todd Dykens said that they represent the latest addition to the National Historic Landmark site and provide greater insight to the events that happened on May 4th, 1970. Other disturbing news that we have to share today, a Streetsboro man has been charged for sending explicit photos to a 13-year-old boy via Snapchat, allegedly also showing up at the boy's home. The suspect's name is John D. Rudinger, 42 years old, and he has now been charged with disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, which is a 5th-degree felony. According to officials, this happened on Sunday, April 25th, and he was arrested on April 29th. This is a developing story. We'll continue to bring you more details as we have them on WKYC.com and in our shows. Let's turn now to the COVID-19 picture and vaccination. We're now learning that more than 10,000 vaccine doses have been deemed unusable here in Ohio, according to the Ohio Department of Health. 10,128 vaccine doses to be exact as of May 2nd. That's dating back to December when vaccinations first began here in Ohio. Now, important context to give you right off of the top. As of May 2nd, there have been 7 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine administered in Ohio. So you look at 10,000 vaccine doses out of 7 million, that is about 0.1% of the total vaccination, so far less than a single percentage point. What makes a vaccine dose unusable? Well, the temperature of the vaccine being out of the acceptable range is one thing. Also, if the temperature is not kept at an appropriate temperature in the transmission, getting the vaccine here to Ohio. Now remember, it's the Pfizer vaccine that needs that really, really cold temperature. The Moderna vaccine can be kept in a refrigerator or a freezer, and we also know that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine can be kept in a refrigerator. Other things that render a vaccine unusable: accidents that just happen, like if a vial were to break, and also if a vaccine is past its expiration date. Let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers. These first numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. Globally, there have been 153,738,123 reported COVID-19 cases. There have been 3,217,106 reported COVID-19 deaths. Here in the U.S., we've got 4% of the global population, but the most cases, the most deaths. We are still seeing those percentages go down ever so slightly, though. In the U.S., we've seen 32,484,777 reported COVID-19 cases. That's 21.1% of all global cases. That's down another 1/10 of a percentage point today. And we've seen 577,769 reported COVID-19 deaths. That's about 18% of the global deaths we're seeing here in the U.S. Now let's take a look at the latest numbers we have from the Ohio Department of Health, waiting on data on the number of new cases reported in the last day, but we do have more information on the number of reported deaths. We've seen 60 more reported into the Ohio Department of Health since we last got that information on Friday, bringing that total number to 19,344. We've seen 89 new hospitalizations in the last day related to COVID-19, with 1,157 people being treated in the hospital right now. Both of those numbers are up. Out of those people, 329 are being treated in an intensive care unit, and we've seen 17 new ICU admissions in the last day. Also, both of those numbers are up. Looking at our vaccinations, yes, vaccinations are definitely slowing here in Ohio. More than 33% of people have completed vaccination. That's close to 3.9 million here in Ohio. Just over 27,000 in the last day completing their COVID-19 vaccinations. Still at just over 40% who have started the vaccination process. That's more than 4.7 million people. We've seen more than 17,000 people in the last day starting that process. Now, as people get vaccinated, one thing that will be happening is the world will be reopening. We're seeing that more and more, and we'll be spending less time at home. So one thing that people are dealing with is pet separation anxiety, and that's the topic of my 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney podcast this week. I talk with Chris Ramsay, who is a dog trainer, a canine specialist. He's the founder of the Shaker Hound Academy. We talk about warning signs that can help you kind of head off the escalation of pet separation anxiety. Also, what we can do while we're still at home before we start heading out more and before we go back to work from offices, if we're lucky enough to be working from home, and to help and manage that pet separation anxiety, and things that we can do for our pets while we're gone, toys and treats that we can use to help them stay comfortable while we're away. Plus, we also take a look at some popular topics out there that people talk about when it comes to managing separation anxiety. Some of those things include CBD treats, for example, or putting your sweatshirt in the crate with your dog. We sort of check out what's a myth and what might have some truth to it and what could be helpful. So if you want to check that out, Search for 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney on any podcast platform. Also, wkyc.com/3 Things to Know. Everything is linked there. Now let's take a quick look at the sports world. The Cleveland Cavaliers have signed Anderson Varejao to a 10-day contract to finish out the season here in Cleveland. Cavs general manager Kobe Altman said that he felt that our players will benefit greatly from daily interaction with him and that he embodies the city of Cleveland and what it stands for. And they couldn't be more excited to bring his experience, leadership, and character back into the locker room. This is after the Cavs had admittedly had some personality issues in the locker room this season. Now, people were kind of surprised to see this. Varejao is a 13-year NBA veteran, but he hasn't played in the league since the 2016-2017 season. He had been playing in Brazil for the 2018-2019 years. He's 38 years old. He was back here in Cleveland for quite some time, but he was traded to Portland in 2016 to sort of clear some salary cap, and then after leaving Portland, he ended up with the Golden State Warriors, and he was here in Cleveland when the Golden State Warriors won the 2016 NBA Finals. He was not playing for Cleveland at that time. He was playing for the Warriors. So now he's back here in Cleveland, at least for the rest of this season. Right now, the Cavs' record is 21-43, and they have officially been eliminated from postseason contention. 8 games left, and Varejao will be here for them. Now, a team in town that has not been eliminated from postseason contention is our Tribe. And our sports reporter, Nick Camino, is talking about that in his latest column for WKYC. He says he knows it's early. The Tribe hasn't played 30 games yet, and there's about 5 full months left in this season, but he believes that the Tribe is here to stay, and they will be making a run at the division title. He understands. He said, yeah, the Tribe probably drove you crazy over the past summer. They did dump some salary, and yes, people are probably missing Francisco Lindor. But despite all of that, he does believe that the Tribe is here to stay. They just won last night over the Kansas City Royals 8-6, and now they are 14-13 on the season, and they are within 2 games of first place in the American League's Central Division. Now, Nick admits, yes, it might be a little embarrassingly early to point at standings, but all things considered, he thinks the Tribe will make a run at a playoffs position. Guess we'll just have to see what happens. But hey, we like hearing that outlook from our 3 News sports reporter, Nick Camino. Check that full column out on WKYC.com. And here's something to keep in mind. If you think that your furry friend has a face for a national campaign, Budweiser wants to put your dog on one of its holiday cans. Now, usually, Budweiser has used its signature Dalmatians for this, but they are opening up a contest for people if they want to have their dog featured on a holiday can. Now, you have to be at least 21 years old, but no age limit for the dog. So the dog years, I guess, playing in favor of the dogs there. No age limit for those dogs. Entries are available between now and Saturday. So get your entry in by Saturday. We've got all the details to do that on WKYC.com. After that, they'll be voting on Budweiser's social media channels between May 10th and May 12th. The winner will be announced on May 14th. And also, by the way, all of the animals are real winners here because Budweiser is going to be making a donation to the Pets and People Foundation that assists therapy visits for people who want to have therapy visits with pets and could use a little bit of joy in their days. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, May 4th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for more 3 News Now. Between now and then, everyone stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.